We're learning more about the border security provisions in the bipartisan Senate deal negotiators have been working on for months. Two sources tell NBC News that legislation would grant the federal government new authority to shut down the border once crossings reach a certain threshold. In addition, there would be new restrictions on how approved migrants are released into the country. The sources say the Senate team hopes to make the text of the bill public this week, but Republicans continue to actively trash a bill they have not read. Former President Trump is claiming a border bill is not even needed. Speaker Mike Johnson posted on X yesterday the bill is a non-starter in the House, and many House Republicans echoed that sentiment yesterday.
Joe Biden has the power to address this unprecedented crisis tomorrow by reversing the 64 executive actions he took to effectively open our southern border.
The president has the ability right now, the power to stop it. 212F, he could use that power. He could undo many of the orders that Tom referenced. But he chooses not to, because this is all a sham and it's purposeful. It is a purposeful effort to deluge our society and to undermine our way of life, to destroy Western civilization.
Biden is salivating at the prospect of some staggeringly horrible Senate compromise bill to enshrine that this ongoing disaster continues. You never give in when our national security is constantly being threatened by the traitorous actions of the executive branch.
The traitorous actions.
Wait, they're the ones.
I thought they wanted this.
They wanted it, and now they don't want it.
They care so much,
about
not caring at all.
They throw around words like, by the way, I'm sorry, but going back to Edmund Burke, what was he writing about? The radicalism, the zealotry of the French Revolution. Do you know what the Jacobins, what the zealots did? They accused everybody of being zealots, anybody, and being traitors. And then they take them to the guillotine. Everybody was a traitor. And here, these people are calling Joe Biden a traitor for doing what Joe Biden has heard them saying, wanted him to do all along. And in Oklahoma, poor James Langford, one of the most conservative guys who criticizes Biden almost every day on Twitter. You see him, and he's put together the most conservative bill on the border in a generation. Everybody says that. That's serious. And now you got these clowns going up there saying he's traitorous. You've got Hugh Hewitt, who was for it, but now he's against it. J.V. Last wrote an article about this. He was for it, but now he's against it because Donald Trump's against it. Newt Gingrich goes on Fox News last night and says, this is the worst thing that's ever happened. It's the dumbest, stupidest, this, that, the other. All because Donald Trump one day, they all liked the bill, and then Donald Trump said, don't pass a bill, it might hurt me politically. And now, traitorous, stupid.
Turn the car around.
True. Yeah, they've turned the car around. How sad and how pathetic. I mean, if somebody had come up to me when I was in Congress and told me to do that, no. I'd have two words for them. And the second would be off, and I would keep walking. I wouldn't even break a stride, and most of the people I served with were that way too, which again begs the question, who are these cowards that will just completely comply with everything dear leader says?
And is there anything they wouldn't do for him? You have to ask the question. I mean,
there's
anything.
Nothing.
Mike Johnson has said publicly on TV and interviews, yes, I talk to the former president almost every day, and he's telling us not to do this. So the thing we've been clamoring for generations, and more specifically in recent months, all of a sudden we're against
Willie, they will not fund Israel right now because Donald Trump does not want this bill to go through. They are allowing Vladimir Putin to beat Ukraine. He now has the advantage over there because Donald Trump wants Vladimir Putin to win. And Mike Johnson has gone right along voting against every bit of funding all along for Ukraine. And, you know, I do wonder where are the pro-Ukrainian Republicans? Where are the pro-freedom Republicans? Where are the Reagan Republicans? I thought Chairman McCall would be fighting. I haven't heard anything from Chairman McCall about this. Does he want the Ukrainians to keep dying? Does he want the Ukrainians to keep getting pounded by the Russian invaders? Is this his legacy? Is this is the House's legacy, by the way? This is the House's legacy right now. And I hope McCall and I hope the rest of them have a great time telling their children and their grandchildren that Vladimir Putin was back on his heels, but he rushed through. He finally got Ukraine. Then he started going to the Balkan states. Then he started going across the rest of Eastern Europe, all because they were more afraid of Donald Trump than they were for freedom. It's sickening.
And the leadership in Ukraine now just says out loud, the future of this war is in the hands of the United States Congress. That's it, full stop. So it's up to them, says Ukraine. Let's bring into the conversation the co-founder and CEO of Axios, Jim VandeHei. Jim, good morning. So what's your view on, let's go back to the immigration deal for just a second. As Joe said, Senator Lankford has the Biden administration now agreeing to things that would have been unthinkable just a few months ago on immigration policy. They feel like they have the best available deal and that the House should take it while they can. What's your sense? Does this have any chance at all, first, of getting out of the Senate, because all of a sudden that's fallen apart a little bit on the Republican side, but then when it gets to the House, we just heard from a whole host of Republicans that it's going nowhere.
Yeah, I think it has a realistic chance of getting out of the Senate. I agree with you that it's one of the most conservative, if not the most conservative bill that we've seen maybe in our lifetime in terms of clamping down on what's going to happen at the southern border. It has no chance whatsoever being signed into law, even though President Biden has made it clear he would sign it. And it's because it's Trump's party and Trump's opposed to it. And he's got his executioner, and that's Johnson and the rest of the leadership in the House. They've made it clear it's dead. It's dead. I don't see any chance that it would pass.
Jen, is this something that Democrats can use against Republicans for killing the best border bill?
Yeah, I mean, I think that on Friday, the president said he would sign this bill. He said he would shut down would shut down,
really
give him the authority to shut down the border, and he will do it the day that he signs the bill. The people who have no credibility are the House Republicans, right?
Yeah.
And you have Senate Republicans have credibility. You had Mitt Romney come out and say out loud what happened in the Senate Republican caucus, that we're not going to act on that the leader does not want to move this bill because Trump doesn't want it. You've had House Republicans say the same thing out loud. You've had Biden say, I will do this. I mean, this is maybe his biggest vulnerability, President Biden's biggest vulnerability in the election. And Trump and the House Republicans have mismanaged us in a way that they've handed him the ability finally to break through about what they have been doing on the border, what they're willing to do. And, it's not going to convince Trump supporters, but it's going to convince swing voters.
He needs to go to the border. He needs to stand at the border, and he needs to say, I want to shut down the border.
And everything he has done.
Donald Trump won't let me. I want to shut down the border with a bill that Republicans call the toughest border security bill ever. I want to shut down the border. Donald Trump won't let Republicans do it.
He needs to go to the border and do that, and he needs to go to the Knesset and have the same conversation with the Israelis. In both cases, Joe Biden has to confront the opposition and just use the power of the bully pulpit. That is the Oval Office, because that's what's left now. And in both cases, he's got implacable people who won't go along.